What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Gig Nation. Recently, DoorDash sent out an email about their new pay model. Now, there has been a ton of news out there, a ton of information about this email, a lot of talk, a lot of different opinions about how this is going to affect drivers, and some actual testing out there because there have been some drivers that have been able to test this pay structure and see how it works in their local areas. So I wanted to weigh in and give my opinion, what I like about it, what I don't like, and how this could actually look when it's implemented in different cities. So first of all, what I'd like to say is that I actually like this new pay model, and I like it quite a bit. Now, a lot of times I've been less optimistic about what DoorDash does and some of the changes that they've made, but I think this is a positive one and a step in the right direction because in a lot of ways they're answering some of the things that people disliked about the old pay model. But how this is actually going to look when it's rolled out full scale is going to be kind of wild. So let's break down exactly what they said in the email. We get this equation, and I'll show you right here now. There's a bunch of different factors that go into this new pay, and one of the cool things that DoorDash mentions is that base pay that was $1 per order is now going to be $2 per order. So right off the bat, it looks like there's going to be a little bit higher ceiling on orders. And we're also going to be seeing 100% of tips as delivery drivers. So when you combine this factor with the fact that the base pay was actually bumped up to $2, you have potential for a much higher ceiling on orders. But you also have the potential for a lower floor. Now here's what I think is going to happen, and they didn't really key into this too much in the email, but I'm kind of just throwing out a theory here because there's a lot of different predictions going around, so I figured I'd throw in mine. And I have not actually tested the new pay model. They didn't really give me access to this, but I have seen what some other drivers have done with the testing, and I've seen some of the results there, so I wanted to kind of give my 2 cents of how this might shape out. So while the ceiling is a lot higher, the floor could be lower as well, because in the past what you had was a minimum guarantee. So once your pay with the minimum base pay of $1 and whatever percentage of tips are thrown your way came to a total, if it didn't hit that minimum guarantee, DoorDash would actually step in and chip in some money so that you would make sure you would get that minimum guarantee. And what that kind of led to was a lot of orders that really just looked the same as far as price tags go. Here in Seattle, a lot of those orders were like $6.50 or $7, and you were kind of just guaranteed to get that payout every single time. So DoorDash does mention in the email that you are going to be seeing that order pay, that total payout up front before you select an order, but it's also kind of possible that they step away from this minimum guarantee system and kind of just let the market determine exactly what you're going to get paid. And that means that their little formula for whatever determines your rate is going to be between $2 and $10 depending on what area you're delivering in. And then on top of that, you can also keep 100% of tips. So if you're delivering in an area where there's no challenges, there's no bonuses, you do a really quick delivery that doesn't take that much time, it is possible that you do see a very low payout order that could be, just over $2 and potentially just hit that $2 base pay. Now, I don't expect this to be very common, and overall, I do expect to actually be seeing a lot more of the higher total payout orders. But once again, there's going to be a ton more fluctuation, so you'll actually have to do a little bit of averaging to see how much you're actually getting paid per order. It's not going to be quite as standard as it was in the past because I believe you're going to be seeing a lot of payouts that are $13, $14, $15, but potentially some lower payouts as well. Now, it's important that we bring up another really cool feature that was mentioned in the email, and that's the fact that tipping is going to be, first of all, suggested when a customer places the order, but there's also going to be an implementation where a customer is able to tip after they receive their order. And this, for me, along with that bump up from a $1 to a $2 base pay, is probably the best change that I'm seeing in this new pay model. And that's because it allows Dashers to actually care about their performance more, knowing that it could actually have an impact on what they're being tipped out when an order pays out. And that's because if they smile, are friendly, and communicate well by texting when they're picking up the order and delivering it, there's a good chance that that customer kind of rewards them with more of a tip. Now, we don't know if that customer is going to be prompted to tip within the app or if there's just going to be an option to do so. But tipping after the service is made is always a benefit to the Dasher, and in a lot of ways it gives DoorDash drivers more control over their own earnings. All right, so now that we've gone into most of the things that I do like about this pay model, now we have to look at one of the things that I really dislike about the pay model. And maybe they changed this, maybe this pay model hasn't been finalized, maybe we're still waiting to see the numbers, but that equation that I showed you right off the bat, and I'll show it again, isn't really an equation because there's no math in it. And that means that DoorDash is going to be kind of determining their rates, whatever they want to put into this equation. But at this point, they're not really being transparent about it. So if, transparency was the goal here, they achieved that on the tipping angle, but they're still not being fully transparent about what they're paying out their Dashers. And here's why they could be doing this. Now, they might not be intentionally doing it, structuring it this way for any real reason, but here's what the less optimistic side of me is saying. Now, I look at Lyft and how they structure their rates and how they are very transparent about how they pay drivers and what impact that really has. And with Lyft, if they change that rate structure in any given market and cut it, drivers know immediately because they can see on their earnings what their payout was per distance, per minute. They can see all the different factors and what exactly that pay breakdown adds up to. And drivers can easily screenshot that and then post it on social media. And a lot of these posts go viral and have a lot of negative impact on the company, on Lyft as a whole. It creates a lot of negative PR. So it's possible that the DoorDash is kind of looking to avoid this, and this would give them control to manipulate rates at their own discretion, and it wouldn't cause as much of a backlash because DoorDash drivers wouldn't really be able to pinpoint it. They wouldn't be able to take a screenshot. So I really hope this isn't some diabolical plan by DoorDash to go ahead and slash rates in the future and then, kind of prevent any sort of real backlash on it. Hopefully, they do kind of just put out those numbers and show us exactly what's going to be happening, because it wouldn't be too difficult for them to do so. Other services like Caviar, which they just acquired, definitely have a more transparent breakdown, and Grubhub definitely does the same. So it's not too hard to kind of just put those numbers out there, and there's a good chance that we will see that from DoorDash. So let me know exactly what you think, what your opinion is of this new pay model. If you've tested it, leave a comment down below, and what you expect it to be coming forward when they roll it out in your area. And if you're a fan of this like I am, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel.